Hey, it's Shantae. You know what drives me crazy? When I see businesses pouring hours into content creation but getting absolutely nowhere with it. They're posting regularly, they've got the pretty graphics, but their content just isn't converting to actual customers. And I get it because I've been there too in the early days of my agency. I was creating content that looked good, but it wasn't strategically designed to bring in clients. So today I'm breaking down why creating content like an influencer instead of a marketing strategist is killing your results, how to build a complete content engine that actually generates leads and sales, and the truth about where you should really be showing up online. So the fundamental problem I see is that most businesses approach content like content creators or influencers instead of like marketing strategists. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in my experience working with clients, I often see content calendars organized by neat little content pillars. Educational content on Mondays, behind the scenes on Wednesdays, and maybe inspirational quotes on Fridays. Super organized, right? But when I ask how this content is supporting their sales process, I often get blank stares. Many businesses are creating content just to create content, not to strategically move people toward becoming customers. So here's what I'm seeing businesses do wrong. Setting up content pillars like education and inspiration without connecting them to the actual buyer decision journey. Creating random posts without building a complete content engine that guides people from discovery to purchase. Obsessing over going viral without focusing on whether that content actually converts. In my agency, I've seen firsthand how a post with relatively low views can generate high quality leads, while viral content sometimes produces no business results at all. It really drove home the point that visibility without strategy is really just noise. So let's talk about what actually works based on what I've implemented with real clients who are seeing real results. Create content based on the buyer journey, not content pillars. First, you need to ditch those generic content pillars and create content based on the buyer decision journey. That means thinking about the actual stages your customers go through when making a purchase decision. I've talked about these before, but I'm going to talk about them again. At the awareness stage, they're just realizing they have a problem. They're not looking for you specifically. They're just becoming aware something's not working. For the consideration stage, your audience now knows they have a problem and is actively looking at potential solutions, including you and your competitors. Then you have the decision stage where they're ready to choose a solution and they just need that final push. I've seen in my agency how restructuring content around these journey stages can transform results. When we help clients focus on their customers' actual decision journey rather than random content pillars, engagement becomes more meaningful and conversion improves. If you want more details on how that works and what content to create for each pillar, I've done a 3-part content series on just that I'll link for you. The second major mistake is not having a complete content engine. And a content engine is a phrase that's new to people. So a content engine is all the touch points that work together to move someone from first discovering you to becoming a customer. It's not just your Instagram posts, it's how those posts connect to your website, your lead magnets, your email sequences, and ultimately your sales conversations. When a client first onboards us, I usually find that they have plans to have strong social content, that's why they're hiring us, but then they don't have a clear path for followers to become customers. There's no bridge between their engagement and their business results, which is why when we implement a complete content engine, we have proper nurturing sequences and conversion touch points, because that's when we see engagement actually translate to sales. Your content engine needs to include discovery content where people first find you, nurture content, how you build the relationship over time, and then conversion content, what pushes them to make a decision. Notice how this mirrors the buyer journey that we just talked about. These pieces need to work together seamlessly. Your social posts should naturally lead to your lead magnet, which should naturally lead to your email sequence, which should naturally lead to your offer. Let me share a real example from our work with Paula, who runs an influencer marketing agency. When she came to us, her online presence wasn't capturing the sophisticated expertise that had earned her industry recognition. Despite managing campaigns for major brands, her content felt inconsistent and it didn't reflect her true authority. So instead of random posts that drained her time, we created a strategic framework aligned with different stages of her buyer's journey. We developed specific content categories like hot takes on influencer marketing for awareness, inside the industry content for interest, and expertise-focused content to build trust and authority. The results were significant. Paula's brand presence went from inconsistent to authoritative. She saw a nearly 10x increase in accounts reached over a 90-day period, with a 6.7x growth in profile activity and profile visits from potential clients. And she started to see more website visits, collaboration requests come through, and follows from her ideal client. The third major mistake is thinking virality equals sales. It doesn't. I've seen businesses chase trends and go viral, but still struggle to get clients because they're attracting attention from people who have no interest in buying. In my experience, content that speaks directly to your ideal client's specific situation will almost always outperform trend chasing content when it comes to actual business results. My ideal client isn't the type to like a post or comment or even DM me, but they'll definitely take notice. They'll watch or scroll through my content and then inquire to work with me. Most high-paying clients are lurkers. Now, this brings me to another huge mistake, creating content that slams customer behavior or makes fun of customers. Now, I see this all the time, especially with service providers who post content about nightmare clients or annoying customer habits. They're trying to be relatable, but who are they being relatable to? And the answer is other service providers. What message does this send to potential clients? They'll be worried you're judging them if they do any of these behaviors, or be too intimidated to even try to hire you to begin with. If you want to use humor, which does do well on social, do it from the customer's point of view. Self-deprecating humor where the customer can laugh at themselves is fine, but never position yourself as judging them. That's an immediate trust breaker. This can go wrong in so many ways, but it can also go really right. So be especially careful with this one. Another common mistake is not posting frequently enough for your specific customer journey life cycle. Some businesses need to post daily, others weekly. It depends entirely on your customer's buying process. If you sell something people only buy once a year and it's low cost, daily content might be overkill. If you sell something people buy weekly or is more of a high touch service, you need more consistent touch points. In my agency, we map out the typical time from first touch point to purchase for each client, and that determines our posting frequency. It's about quality and strategic timing, not just volume. And finally, a massive mistake I see is businesses trying to be everywhere at once. I've often seen businesses stretching themselves too thin across multiple platforms, spending countless hours on content with minimal results. When we analyze their customer behavior and identify where their actual leads come from, we can usually eliminate several platforms and focus efforts on the ones that truly matter for their business. This strategic approach typically leads to less work and better results, which is exactly what we want from an efficient content strategy. Your content strategy needs to be built around where your specific customers discover new brands, where they're mindlessly scrolling platforms, research solutions, where do they save content or spend more time reading, where they look for social proof, so reviews, testimonials, case studies, and where they make decisions. So where are they in work mode versus casual browsing? Now, I do want to touch on one thing. What about working with big influencers? Personally, I recommend running campaigns with micro influencers, which is under 10,000 followers. They often drive better results than big influencers, and their engagement rates are higher. Their audiences trust them more, and they're often more affordable. Focusing on relevance and quality of engagement typically outperforms raw numbers when it comes to influencer partnerships. Now, if you need help creating a content strategy, I created my Marketing Quickstarter class specifically for this challenge. It's a complete framework that helps you build sales psychology-driven content strategies that actually convert. It takes all the guesswork out of content planning and gives you clear templates for mapping out buyer journey-based content. You can find it at shop.sugarpunchmarketing.com. And if you want me to create your content strategy for you, I have a strategy retreat service that delivers your custom strategy within 2 to 3 weeks. These fill up quickly, and I only take a few clients on for these each month, and you can book yours on my website, sugarpunchmarketing.com. So this is the part where I remind you that your content struggle isn't because you're not creative enough. It's likely because you're approaching content like a creator rather than a strategist. That mindset shift can transform your results. And that a strategic content approach often means less content overall, but better results, which means you can finally get off the content hamster wheel and focus on what actually moves the needle. And finally, remember that the point of content isn't engagement, virality, or even audience growth. It's moving people closer to working with you. Keep your eye on that goal with every piece you create. If you found this helpful and want more support, I've got 3 ways you can take action right now. If you're a social media manager, join the free Social Media Manager Lounge where you'll connect with other social media managers navigating the same challenges. Check out my 3-part buyer decision journey series to learn more about creating content that sells. And if you're serious about implementing what we covered today, check out my Marketing Quickstarter class. It's packed with the exact frameworks you need to build content strategies that actually convert. And if you're still here, please let me know if you enjoyed this by liking, subscribing to the channel, or DMing me on Instagram. Your support is what keeps me creating this content while handling all the production and editing myself. All the links to everything I mentioned are in the description. And next week is special. It's my 7th business anniversary. I'll be sharing the 7 mistakes I made building my social media management agency from scratch and what I do differently. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.